The Voting Rights Act of 1965, well, let's just say it took a significant road to get there. We're talking decades upon decades in the making. All right. After Reconstruction ended in 1877, African American men and definitely African American women were not going to be getting the right to vote, and they certainly were going to have roadblocks trying to exercise that. African American men already had the right to vote once the 15th Amendment passed in 1870, if I believe that's the year. And when that passed, they were supposed to be able to vote, and they were able to do so, not in big numbers because the KKK was still blocking them at the time, even then, from voting in the South. But at least they were able to do so in decent numbers, for relatively speaking, compared to after Reconstruction. And why was it so difficult? Because, like I said, the segregationists wanted to keep power, and African Americans were definitely going to vote, like the sheriffs, the DAs, the councilmen that approved these Jim Crow laws and wanted to enforce them. And they definitely wanted to get, the Ku Klux Klan was getting protection from the sheriffs and all these people. So they wanted to get rid of the leadership that was keeping the status quo in place. This is why it was so difficult. So this was a magnificent accomplishment by Martin Luther King, the SCLC, and other various African American groups that were able to get the Voting Rights Act passed, where literacy tests were now ended, roadblocks for African Americans from registration, that now ended, and it was now unified under federal law. So now the federal government was able to enforce this. And so if the South tried to stop this from happening, they could get fined, they could actually be charged with interference or even violating African Americans' rights for their right to vote, as well as the 14th Amendment as well. So the Voting Rights Act was huge. It was a huge accomplishment. And now African Americans were finally able to break the gridlock of segregation. Now, did it happen overnight? No, because you still had people there in considerable amounts of power. You still had a significant voting population that wanted to keep segregated society. But now you had African Americans that are now able to vote and start to bring change in the South, thanks to this Voting Act of 1965.